Children with LGBT parents of Reddit, how do you feel about it? Are the sayings right? Do you feel like you're actually missing something? I have two moms and a stepmom, so I'm both a child of gay parents and a child of divorce. When people ask me this question, I usually reply, well, what is it like to have a dad? It's all I know. My family has plenty of issues, so I definitely feel like I missed out on some things, but I don't think being raised by all women was all that relevant. The biggest problem growing up with gay parents was other kids' parents. A lot of kids weren't allowed to hang out with me, and the parents who would have me around would ask strange, intrusive questions or make comments. I've never thought of the other kids' parents were the problem side of this. You should spread this info. Somehow, my dad came out when I was 3, after over 10 years of marriage with my mother. I don't remember it, but my mother still seems bitter about it, even after 2 long-term relationships afterwards. My dad has been married to 2 men since he came out. I think him and his current husband are both wonderful. I don't care if my father is gay. Even with my mother non-stop telling me how unnatural it is, my dad is in love with a guy and that guy loves him, so it shouldn't bother anyone. I just get on with my life and enjoy seeing my dads whenever I see them. They still made a huge effort in raising me and were more caring to me than my mother ever is. However, when you have one real dad and 2 stepdads, Father's Day can be a very expensive time. My mom realized she was a lesbian when I was about 6, so most of my life I grew up with 2 moms. To add to this, I don't have any uncles and my brother is also gay, so I grew up in a feminine household to say the least. I can't deny it made me more feminine in the traditional sense. I'm much more open with my emotions than most my age. I'm very open with compliments and like to talk deeply about things. My mom is also lesbian, and as a male I definitely agree that I am far more in tune with my emotions than the average male, and find it easier to discuss them. I'm grateful for my upbringing and wouldn't have it any other way. I was adopted at birth by an interracial gay couple in the early 90s, when it was still extremely difficult for gay couples, especially men, to adopt. I was the only girl in my school to have 2 dads for most of my childhood, and this was in a liberal US city with a large LGBT population. I was always the unique one, always had a lot of explaining to do to my peers, and was even barred from participating in a few school events because I had 2 dads. To be quite honest, that was the only part about my upbringing. My dads are awesome parents. I think the fact that they had to wait so long and go through so many hoops for a child made them especially committed parents when I finally came along. Not clingy or overprotective by any means, but just really solid, hands-on parents. Since I wasn't an oopsie baby like many kids end up being, my parents were truly prepared, emotionally and financially, to take on the extremely difficult task of parenting. Compared to my peers, and I'm probably partial, my childhood and its lingering effects on the person I am today was phenomenal. My parents weren't ever afraid to skirt around potentially awkward issues about growing up, e.g. my first period, buying bras, first date, etc., and always emphasized that I had a strong network of female relatives and close family friends to reach out to if I ever felt the need to talk about girl stuff directly with other women. I know and am still friendly acquaintances with my birth mother, and I truly feel thankful to her for giving me to my awesome parents. Though my family faced a lot of discrimination as I was growing up, both implicit and explicit, my dads led by example and never backed down from it or let ignorant and hateful people win. They instilled in me the importance of being yourself, and to never be ashamed or apologetic for who you are. I consider myself a great counterexample to all the bigots who claim that children of LGBT families are somehow scarred, or have a deficiency caused by the lack of a father or mother figure. I am happier and more successful in life than so many children of traditional families that I knew growing up. My dads are rad and I feel like the luckiest girl in the world to have found them. I am not missing a damn thing. Birth mother here, I adopted out to a gay couple. Since it's the first and only time I'll ever experience it, I had tons of questions and worries about how that decision may affect my daughter. Your story gave me a huge boost of hope. Okay, so my mom divorced my dad to be with her lesbian lover when I was 8. My mom and her girlfriend were together for 10 years until her girlfriend passed suddenly, and now my mom is married to her wife who has never had with a man, but had 2 kids via a sperm donor who are around my age. Her long-term partner died suddenly as well, hence why she and my mom kinda got together. If you would have asked me or my brother this question in middle or high school, we would have said that while a gay home is obviously better than no home, there is something missing in gay homes that straight homes provide, the perspective of 2 genders. However, Since meeting my step-siblings who never had dads, and the 5 of us having some long drawn-out discussions about all of our upbringing, we concluded that the reason we felt that way when we were younger is because it was basically like asking us, how would you feel if your dad wasn't around? So of course we felt weird about that. The more we discussed and talked about how our emotional and material needs were met and all of the family friends that were in the picture throughout our childhood, we think that if we were born into a family where we only had 2 female parents, we wouldn't have ever felt that way. It was kind of a weird progression, but I think my confusion as a child was caused by people around me politicizing my situation, rather than framing it in a way that is realistic, if that makes sense. That does make sense. This is exactly how society can form a person and their opinion. Thank you for sharing your experience. I think you made a worthwhile connection between the influence adults can have on how a child cognitively frames something. Had a friend tell me he was part Irish, I said, but neither of your moms are Irish. Then it dawned on me. Reminds me of Modern Family. Lily tells Gloria she's gay and Gloria freaks out because she's only 6 years old or something like that. Gloria tells Mitch and Cam, who confront Lily. Well, my friend X's parents are Italian, and he's Italian. My parents are gay, so I'm gay. My father is transgender. When he broke the news, I was heartbroken but not surprised. There were too many clues growing up. I went through a period of mourning. I saw it as losing my dad. Being his little girl, I knew I was treasured, so what would this new change bring? After coming to terms with all the changes, I've grown to realize that I didn't lose my dad. The outside may have changed, but on the inside she was still the same caring and supportive parent I had always known. I feel I had gained a good friend. We have a much more open and relaxed relationship. At this point in my life I don't need anyone to parent me, so it's really great to have a very close friend in her. I feel like my life is richer as a result. Like maybe I leveled up as an individual. It's a nice gift to be able to accept people for who they are. I see the many facets of people and have grown to appreciate them more. I don't know that I would be such an open and welcoming person if I hadn't gone through this experience. Edit. As someone kindly pointed out, I used the word loose instead of lose, so it's fixed. I are baboon. Edit again. It's okay that my spelling and grammar were corrected. No worries, folks. Learning from mistakes is a good thing. I refer to my dad as my dad because although he transitioned to a woman and lives as a woman, our father-daughter relationship will never be transitioned away. That was made abundantly clear to me by her. I do have a mom but have no wishes to call my dad mom now since, let's face it guys, one mom is more than enough, especially mine. So nowadays I introduce this individual as my aunt. We agreed together on this. My aunt, dad, doesn't want to be introduced as a man, so out of respect to her choices we go about it this way. Pronouns can be tricky and having a good sense of humor is essential. Hope that adds clarification. My dad transitioned and started living as a woman after a long time not wanting to, for fear of what it would do to the family, including us 4 children. But I'm so glad she did. She isn't hiding more, and isn't constantly depressed all the time like she used to be. How could I possibly not be happy about that?